Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. I am Seeds. So, guys, remember to subscribe, comment, like, and share this video. So, in today's video, I'm going to show you the side of Lake Nyabihoko, also known as Ntungamo Highlands, away in the rolling hills of Ntungamo district in southwestern Uganda. Lake Nyabihoko doesn't shout for attention like Lake Victoria. 372 kilometers squared mirror of water shared by Nyabihoko, Bonjela, and Luale sub-counties. But behind its calm surface lies a story, the Banyankole and the Bachiga, told for generations. A tale of wealth, betrayal, and the God's wrath. So, guys, now let's first talk about the man who was called Ntungamo. Long before colonial maps gave the lake a name, there lived a Muhima cattle keeper named Ntungamo. He was one of the most respected herdsmen in Mpololo, with vast grazing land and a herd so large his name carried weight across Ankole. Among his cattle, a cow called Njelu, a white cow he loved above the rest. Ntungamo also had a secret. He had fathered a son with one of his female servants, but never told his official wife. The gods, or according to some versions, those spirits given him another gift, a multicolored sacred calf, with one condition: never eat it, even if it died naturally. So one day, Ntungamo had to travel to Ombwela in Nshenyi, is now Rwanda, to arrange a bull for breeding. Leaving, Njelu fell sick, gave her herbs to his servant's wife. If she died, bury her, do not eat her. A few days later, Njelu died. Hunger and greed won. The servants consulted the wife, convinced her that burying all that meat was wasteful, and the whole homestead feasted for days. They dried what was left, and that is called the Ankole way of preserving meat. On the third night, around 3 a.m., Ntungamo's wife walked to can milk for Gi. As she walked, she heard water seeping through the walls of the shelter. At first, she ignored it, but the water kept rising. Soon the entire homestead was sinking. She wailed as the flood swallowed her, the servants, and the wells of Ntungama's farm. When Ntungamo returned, he found a vast lake where his land had been. 28 days of non-stop rain had turned his farm into water. His wife, daughter, and servants were gone. Only his illegitimate son, who lived with the servants, survived. overcome with grief. Ntungamo tried to drown himself. His friend Mwamba stopped him, took him to Kachera for a feast. And then both men returned to the lake and walked into the water, holding hands. But geologists have another explanation here. Lake Nyabihoko sits in a tectonic depression formed over millennia as rainwater and runoff filled valleys in the highlands. It's part of the Kagera River system, which feeds the Nile. But for the people here, the legend of Ntungamo endures. It speaks of Tununs, the importance of keeping oath, respecting the sacred, and the consequences of greed. Some elders said the hippos seen in the lake are the transformed cattle of Ntungamo, and on quiet nights you can still hear whispers from the drowned Kalar. Today, Lake Nyabihoko is both cultural landmark and a livelihood. About 41 licensed fishermen work its waters daily, selling fresh fish that educate children and feed families. The lake sits among gently sloping hills at 1359 meters above sea level, surrounded by banana plantations, cattle, and crops. Ntungamo Island sits in the middle, where you can still see remains of a traditional Ankole homestead. The Ntungamo Island Resort now welcomes visitors who come for boat rides, bird watching, and the story. Pelicans, fish, eagles, and grey-crowned cranes drift over the water. So this is why it matters. The Bahima cattle keepers who lived around it, Nyabihoko is more than water. It's a restory of ancestral stories, a place where history, myths, and daily life meet. It reminds people that wealth and status mean nothing if you break trust with the gods, the land, and each other. If you stand on the shore at dusk, the hills turn gold and water goes still, and it is easy to understand why locals call it a living entity. Whether you believe the legend or science, Lake Nyabihoko holds both. A hidden gem of Uganda that's been shaping lives long before it ever appeared on a map. You want to visit? Take the Ntungamo Highway from Kampala, about 6-7 hours by road. The lake is 15 kilometers from Rashmiri Trading Center along the Ntungamo Rukunji Road. Bring insect repellents, sunscreen, and a camera. Lake Nyabihoko isn't isolated. It's a link in the greater Kagera River system, which feeds the Nile. The lake drains into the Nyarambu swamp, a wetland that snakes through the landscape and across the Mbarakavari Highway near Kamira. That swamp pulls water from streams with names that map the land: Lugonji, Uha, Changala, Luzumo, Kahunga, Chamati. These streams act as natural reservoirs, keeping the lake safe, refreshed. From the air, President Museveni once pointed out how Nyabihoko connects through this network of swamps and streams. It's a small lake with big hydrological role. The legend says Ntumo's cattle became hippos. Whether or not you believe that hippos are occasionally seen in the lake and they have become part of the local lore. Beyond hippos, the lake is a bird sanctuary. Grey-crowned cranes, Uganda's national bird, often seen wading at the edges, pelicans and fish eagles, swooping for fish at dawn, herons, egrets, and kingfishers, common along the swampy inlets. The surrounding hills and wetlands also host monitor lizards, others, and various fish species that sustain the 41 licensed fishermen who work the lake daily. The lake's shores are home to the Bahima cattle keepers and Bachiga farmers. Their lives still revolve around the water. Cattle grazing, the Bahima bring herds to drink at dawn and dusk, just like Ntungamo did centuries ago. Fishing, fresh tilapia, and catfish are sold at Rashamia Trading Center, funding school fees and household needs. Farming, banana plantations, beans and maize grow on the fertile slopes around the lake. Cultural rituals. Cultural rituals. Some elders still perform prayers and offerings at the lake during droughts, asking for rain and forgiveness. In the middle of the lake sits Ntungamo Island. On it are the remains of what locals say was Ntungamo's original homestead. Stone foundations and depressions in the ground. Today, Ntungamo Island Resort runs boat trips to the island, and visitors can take a 30 to 45-minute boat ride across the calm water, walk the island and hear the legend of local guides, birdwatch and photograph the wetlands, eat fresh fish cooked by the lakeside. It's still a quiet off the beaten path spot. No crowds, no loud music, just hills, water, and stories. The Ntungamo story isn't just folk in Ankole culture, it's a teaching story about Okwesiga. We call it Okwesiga in our mother tongue, which is also known as trust and Okugumira, restraint. So here are the core lessons passed down. Keep your oath. Mutumo's downfall started when his household broke the promise about the sacred calf. Greed destroys wealth. The feast that emptied the kraal ended with the kraal itself disappearing. Then another lesson is respect the sacred and the vulnerable. The servant and the wife's role in the decision shows how collective choices carry collective consequences. Elders use this story when settling disputes about land, inheritance, and honesty. So now I need to tell you the reason why this place still is a hidden gem. Uganda has 165 plus lakes, and most tourists go to Lake Bunyonyi, Lake Mburo, or Lake Victoria. Nyabihoko stays quiet because it's 15 kilometers off the main Ntungamo route. There is minimal commercial tourism development, and the community prefers it. Stays low impact to protect the ecosystem and culture. That's why it feels authentic. You won't find souvenir shops, you will find fishermen mending nets, children fetching water, and elders pointing to the island saying that's where Mtumo's house was. So now let's talk about the sound of the lake at night. If you stay by Nyabihoko past sunset, you understand why elders say it's a listening lake. The hills cut down, the only sounds are the lamp of water on the shore, the call of a fish, eagle, and sometimes a rough grunt from the swamp. Locals say that is when the lake speaks. During droughts, women from Bwongela and Lubale still walk to the shore with millet flour and milk. They sprinkle it on the water and sing old Banyankore hymns asking for rain. Whether it's fate or coincidence, rain often follows within days. That practice ties back to the Mtumo story, the idea that the lake remembers and responds when you approach it with respect. And then another thing, let's talk about the Bahima and Katro culture. Nyabihoko sits in the heart of Ankole, Katro country. The Bahima around the lake don't just keep cattle for milk and money. The long-horned Ankole cows are identity, dowry, and history. Every morning around 6 a.m., you will see boys and men walking 50 to 100 cattle down to the lake. The animals drink slowly, heads lowered, while herders sing low chants to keep them calm. The lake's water is believed to make the milk richer and the horns grow stronger. There is a saying here, ente ziryo mu Nyabihoko tizifa nzozi. It is also in our mother tongue, which means that cattle that drink from Nyabihoko don't die of thirsty. It's pride, but also a reminder of how much the lake sustains. Then when we talk about fishing and the lake's economy, about 41 licensed fishermen work Nyabihoko daily, mostly using dugout canoes and gill nets. They target tilapia, catfish, and lungfish. A typical day: 4:30 a.m. boats launch in the dark, guided by kerosene lamps. 6 a.m. first catch brought to shore and sold fresh at Rashamia Trading Center. Afternoon, nets are mended, boats dried, stories exchanged under fig trees. The money from fish pays school fees, buys medicine, and builds iron sheet houses. But overfishing is a growing concern. The community, with help from Ntungamo District Fisheries Office, has started closed seasons and size limits to keep the lake productive. So now let's talk about the unfinished story of the son. Remember Mutumo's illegitimate son, the only one who survived because he lived with the servants at night. Oral tradition says he grew up and oral tradition says he grew up in Kachera and never returned to Nyabihoko. He became a rainmaker and storyteller, passing down the tale of his father to keep the memory alive. Some families in Bulwale claim descent from him. They are called Nyabihoko, the people of Nyabihoko, and are often asked to speak at ceremonies when the lake is mentioned. It's a reminder that even in tragedy, lineage continues. The lake took Mtumo's wealth, but not his name. Then another thing, we can talk about how to experience it like a local. If you visit, skip the rush tourist checklist. Do this instead. Arrive at dawn, watch the cattle come down and the mist lift off the water. It's the best time for photos and for hearing the lake wake up. Take a canoe with fishermen for 20k to 30k Ghanaian shillings. They will row you around and point out bird nests, hippo path, and old homestead site on Ntungamo Island. Eat at the shore, buy fish straight from the boats, grill it with matoke and ghee, and eat with your hands under a tree. Ask for the story. Every elder has a slightly different version of Mutumo. Correct them. The differences are part of the story. Why Nyabihoko still matters in 2026. Uganda is changing fast. Roads are tarmacked, phones are everywhere, and young people move to Kampala. But Nyabihoko remains a place where old and new meet. For conservationists, it's a model of a small, self-sustaining wetland system feeding the Nile. For cultural leaders, it's a living classroom for teaching Ankole values to the next generation. For visitors, it's a proof that you don't need big crowds and resorts to feel the weight of a place. The lake hasn't been discovered in the way Binyonyi has, and maybe that's the point. It's still owned by the people who tell its story, not by tour operators. Hello my beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I am Seeds. So guys, right now we are at the Mutumo Highlands, and of course I can't wait to see myself in the boat on top of water riding, guys. So we are at the lake, Nyabihoko Lake, Mutumo Highlands. As you can see around the green nature looks very wow. Wow, there is a very big stone. Let me see. So here guys, there is this very beautiful big stone, as you can see it. Looks very beautiful. If we can go on touring. And of course there is also animal rearing this side, because I see there are a lot of cows on the farm, as you can see. So guys, here are the boat rates, as you can see. Boat rates to Mo Island Resort, as you can see them.
subscribe, comment, like, and share it. See you in my next video.
See my people, waking up to the morning sun so bright. All the children then they play with all their might. Mama they cook their aroma sweet my belly. Everybody say no place like home.